Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Culture Bucket. Today we're talking directors. Top 5 directors is the topic of today. I am your host, George, and with me is your other host, your I was going to say second host, but no, equal first host, Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hi, George. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm blood.
I'm good.
I'm so blood.
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm great. Yes.
Yeah, directors today, but first we'll do our culture catch-up and then we'll talk about our homework.
This is Culture Catch-Up Time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch-Up Time.
Alex,
Yes.
do you want to start? What have you got to talk about today?
Okay, so my homework was to watch Thor Ragnarok.
It's not time for homework, Alex.
I know. Will you let me? You have no patience, George. You have no patience. Will you let me tell my story, or shall I just?
All right, go on.
Okay.
No, you tell your
So
story.
my homework was to watch Thor. What's it called? Ragnarok. Ragnarok. So my homework
Yes.
was to watch Thor Ragnarok. And after
Yes.
watching Thor Ragnarok, I thought, well, I'm on Disney Plus anyway. Let's catch up on the Marvel Universe.
Oh,
So
okay.
I started with, I don't know why I started with Captain Marvel. I should have started with Infinity War. But I realized that I watched until Avengers Civil War. No.
Right. It's called Captain America Civil War is the correct title of that film.
Oh, goodness. It's too much. So the last one I watched was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So I thought, okay, I watched Thor Ragnarok, so I'll carry on. I wanted to watch Spider-Man Homecoming, but I have to pay for it. I have everything. I've
it's annoying.
got Sky, I've got Netflix, I've got Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and I have to pay for Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man, so I've decided to not watch Spider-Man.
It's pretty good. Michael Keaton's fantastic in it.
Is
but,
it?
You know.
Okay. Well, I watched Captain Marvel first.
Okay.
Uh,
What did you think of Captain Marvel?
I thought Captain Marvel was excellent.
Okay.
I love Brie Larson.
Yes.
I think she's amazing. She's an amazing actress. I love her. And I think Captain Marvel is excellent. Oh, you've got it. What is that? Is that...
It's a pillow. I sleep on
Oh.
it every night.
You sleep? Is that your pillow?
Yeah, it's my pillow.
You have a Captain Marvel pillow that you sleep.
I've got a...
Oh,
I love Captain Marvel.
wow. Well, yeah, so Captain
Yeah.
Marvel stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, Annette Bening. And then while I was watching it, because it's got such amazing cameos from everyone, I thought, did we put Annette Bening as one of the best actresses? I don't know. How about Brie Larson? How about Gemma Chan? That last week, I think we forgot so many people because Samuel L. Jackson.
But, you know,
Samuel L. Jackson, he's excellent here. Well, so
he is, but I don't know. I feel slightly with him. I've seen. I don't know. I wouldn't have put him on my list personally.
well, no, but not on the list, but on at least honorable mention.
Yeah. He's cool. He's in a lot of. He's in so much though now.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. No, he's great. I love Samuel Jackson. No offense meant to Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. So, the plot, the story is this: the Kree people are fighting
The Skrull.
the Skrulls, fantastic, which are shapeshifters. So from the beginning,
Yes.
they're trying to fight these people, and Brie Lawson, which is Veers, is training for it with Jude Law, which I do not remember the name, and is training to save the universe from the Skrulls. And that's the story, basically. And then blah, 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 blah. Things happen. But it's basically the beginning of S.H.I.E.L.D., isn't it?
Yeah,
Like the start of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or it's not so much the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I think they already exist, but like the start of them encountering superhumans, I think.
Yes, fantastic.
And the start of the Avengers initiative.
I don't want to say too much
maybe the
because I
start of
feel like it's so... Like, I like the twists in it. There's quite a few twisties, isn't there? Although...
Yeah. There was a really cool twist in it that I really liked.
I loved it.
A lot.
I loved it. So, yeah. And I thought it was really, really, really good. And I really enjoyed it. And time flew. Because sometimes with Marvel films, when you watch them by yourself, you go, oh, well, I might check Instagram. But no, this was really, really good. And I thought was amazing.
That's awesome. I like the bit where he's scared of cats. Ben Mendelsohn's character, I don't remember his name.
That's the best thing. And they
It's so
think it's
funny
a
that
cat
he's scared of the cat.
Yeah. And they don't call him a cat. What do they call him?
I can't remember what he is now. Is he called Jonesy?
I don't know.
remember now.
No, it's called something different. What's is from Top Gun.
Oh, is it called Goose?
Yeah, Goose.
Goose.
Yeah.
It is called Goose. Yeah. Flirkin. He's a flirkin.
It's a flirkin. Yeah, it's a flirkin. And I just loved it. I just thought it was really good, really clever, entertaining, good music. Brie Larson just does things so well. She's such an amazing actress. Like the thing that she was an alien, she made it so natural. It wasn't like she just did things really naturally, and it was beautiful to watch.
She's good.
She's amazing.
She's great.
Yeah.
I love the bit where Jude Law's like, defeat me without your powers, prove to me that you can do it. And she's like, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. And it's just great.
So good. The coolest.
Yeah, no, great. That's cool. So what did you watch next?
Then next I watched the next one I watched was Infinity War.
Okay, big film.
Which is what's it called altogether? Is Avengers Infinity War, yeah?
Yeah,
Avengers Infinity War. And the clue is in the title, Infinity. That film never
it's a
ends.
long film.
It never ends. I enjoyed the fact that everybody from the Marvel Universe pops in. I thought that was brilliant. Everybody here. And the Guardians of the Galaxy, when they meet Thor, just beautiful because they get to know each other. And like for some, because it's the Avengers and it's the Marvel Universe, and you kind of assume that they all know each other, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't at all. So it's really cool, like with Doctor Strange and Iron Man meeting each other and all of that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Really, really good. There's some good comedy. There's some good... what I've noticed, though, this time in this one, there's some lot of stupid mistakes made, but I don't know if then it sets up for the next one, which I haven't watched, which is Endgame.
Ooh.
So I'm not sure if all the stupid things they do in Infinity War then are...
Can you give me an example of a stupid thing?
Like, for example, that shield, when they're in Wakanda, and they put the shield, and the dogs are gonna, the alien dogs are trying to get in Wakanda, and then this amazing shield.
Yeah.
There was no reason for them to open the shield because the amount of alien dogs that were going through was so limited that, you just sent everybody around the perimeter and you shoot the alien dogs. But no... Oh, they're going around. Let's open the shield. And so all these alien dogs come in.
Well, I guess the idea was that, like, the alien dogs would surround it, but then stronger forces might arrive as well. And at that point, if they break it down, they'll be overwhelmed.
I guess, but
I can see why you think it's stupid, but I can also see an argument as to why it's like a legitimate battle tactic or whatever.
Yeah,
in a way.
But what I enjoyed, and that's what we talked about, and when we talked about Black Panther a few weeks ago, it's just the villain thinking that he's doing the correct thing. And here,
Right.
Thanos is definitely making you kind of think about that, because he's saying, well, there are too many people and I'm trying to save humanity or help humanity by
Or the universe
the
even, yeah.
universe by decimating people. And in a way, he's right, but in a way, he's killing loads of people. So you go, like, I kind of
Yeah.
felt a little bit on his side, but a little bit not.
Thanos is an awesome villain, and it's
Yeah.
Infinity War is like his film. He's the main character of that movie, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Josh Brolin's performance is fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good. And you see that he's got feelings and he's not just doing things for no reason. And the love that he has for his daughter. And yeah, I thought it was, but it's long. It's really, really long. And
It's a long film about a big purple testicle with emotions.
he is a big people. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. He's a big purple testicle. Oh.
Yeah, he's good though. I like him. I like that big purple
Yeah,
testicle.
and it's really, but I thought everybody was really, really good. I think, I don't know, the Marvel universe just brings the best out of people. I really like it. And then, so that was good, but just a little bit too long in my opinion. But I guess, and then I was thinking,
which is fair, totally fair criticism.
yeah, I was thinking maybe they could have done 2 films of that and then 2 films of Endgame.
Yeah, but let me tell you, Endgame is awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Then I watch Ant-Man and Wasp, which is the second helping of Ant-Man. I absolutely loved Ant-Man, the film Ant-Man. I thought it was great. This one, it's we're away from the Infinity War, and I think it's happening, but they're doing something else. And the story is they're trying to find Wasp's mother, who is Hope's one of the characters, Hope
Van Dyne.
Hope Van Dyne, who's also Wasp's mother, who has been lost for 30 years, somewhere in the
what do they call it? The small place,
in
the
small
tiny place.
Yeah. This really felt like a bumper episode. Bumper episode, is that what it's called? A bumper film, like just kind of like put there to, give time for the end game to arrive. I don't know.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Like I liked it, but after watching Infinity War and Captain Marvel, it kind of felt really, I don't know. I felt like I wasn't interested really in if they found a mother or not, which is kind of a shame. I got a little bit bored watching Ant-Man and Wasp, and because I really enjoyed Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man was one of my favorites. This one just felt a bit flat to me.
Yeah, but Ant-Man has quite a small story as well.
What do you mean?
Like, I think that, well, in terms of like when they make Ant-Man movies, I think their ethos is to not have them be big, huge films with plots about the end of the world and stuff. They want them to always be about something quite small.
Okay.
And personal, like a personal story. It is an oddly placed film in terms of it coming just after Infinity War.
Yeah.
And you want Endgame to happen.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. It's just like, I want to watch this because I love Ant-Man and I'm trying to do them in chronological order. And the story was good and introduced like a new character, and Lawrence Fishburne is in it, and anything with Lawrence Fishburne is good, and there's some good comedy and there's some good feel-good moments. I love when he makes that maze for his daughter at the beginning of the film.
Oh yeah,
which is really lovely, and but I felt like it was just a little bit meh. But
I feel like if you give it another go one day with less sort of expectation around it, you might enjoy it more. It's quite a small film, and it doesn't do anything new. It is sort of retreading the same ground as the first film, but it's got some fun performances.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But I think I watched Thor Ragnarok, Captain Marvel, Avengers Infinity War, and then I watched Ant-Man, and I think it was just like
yeah.
it was like bam 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 bam. It's like, and then it was just Ant-Man and
Yeah,
Wasp.
I can see that for sure.
So I was a bit, so maybe I just went in overdrive. But I realized after finishing Thor Ragnarok, and I'm gonna get emotional here, George, that I'm waiting for you to see you to watch Marvel films. And usually we spend New Year's together. And this year we're not gonna spend New Year's together. So I thought, well, I'm not gonna wait for George.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched them, because if not, it's gonna be 2025 before I can watch Avengers.
Yeah. I'm glad you watched them though, because they are fun.
Yeah, they are.
No, okay. Is that all the Marvel you watched?
Yeah, that's all the Marvel watch. I wanted to watch Endgame, but I've been dreaming Marvel for the past few days. So and also it's 3 hours and 30 minutes, and I didn't have the time. But if you say
Yeah,
it's good,
that's totally
I'm going to
fair.
watch it this week. And then the fourth movie I watched this week, and it's not in the Marvel universe, is the new Borat film, which is called Borat Subsequent Movie Film.
Very nice.
Very
Oh,
nice.
I'm excited. I also watched Borat Subsequent Movie Film.
Oh, very excited. Shall we
Very
talk about
excited.
it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this
You
was
start.
my first Borat movie. I have never watched a Borat movie before, which was
Okay.
the last one, only one.
There was only one other one.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I haven't watched the other one. Just because
But,
I think
yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen is an extremely intelligent human being, and he does things in a really clever way, but also he's one of those people that pushes boundaries and pushes a lot, and is very cringy, isn't he? So I've watched clips
Yeah.
from the first Borat, and I was just like, no, don't do that. And so I thought, well, I don't want to watch it. But this one came out, and it came out at a particular strategic time, and for a reason. So I thought I'll give this a go, and I did. And I watched an entire Borat film. I only had my eyes closed a
Well
couple of
done.
times.
That's a big step.
Yeah, thank you. It's just
You're
because
welcome.
it's
Good
so
job.
cringy, because he talks to real people, and the real people are really
No,
bad.
I know from trying to get you to watch stuff like Nathan for You and Impractical Jokers that you struggle with that. So
I really
yeah.
struggle because, like, these humans are weird. But yeah, as my first Borat film, I thought it was pretty good. He managed to find some
Yeah?
pretty interesting people and do some pretty
Yeah, he
interesting
does.
stunts.
Yeah.
And I was amazed by the ending
When you say the ending, what do you mean?
with Rudy Giuliani.
Oh yeah, I mean that is. He was just tucking in his shirt.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he was just tucking in his shirt in the bedroom.
Just tucking in his
like,
shirt.
if a person asks you to go for an interview in the bedroom, you as a person who is married, who has got a certain position, you say, if you don't want to, you say, oh, no, thank you. Let's carry on in this room with the cameras. So why did he go in the bedroom?
He can only tuck his shirt in when he's lying on a bed. That's the thing.
Oh, and ask for her address and her phone number. Oh, I was amazed that hasn't had more controversy. Like, he's lying on a bed.
It's had a fair amount, but not. Yeah, you'd think more. But nowadays, people just do anything and seem to get away with it. So, what do you think of the rest of the film?
Okay, I think, well, Sacha Baron Cohen has got balls of steel. And the woman who plays his daughter,
Tutar,
played by Maria Bakalova, a Bulgarian actress, she has got balls of steel too. She was amazing.
especially as he's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
She's just an actress
Yeah.
that they found. She
Yeah.
really. So what? If for people that haven't seen it, what's like a brief plot summary of what sets up Borat 2?
So, from what I understood in Borat 1, he got in trouble and went to prison, and he has to not be executed. To not be executed, he needs to send a present he needs to give a present to Michael Pence, and the present is a monkey. But unfortunately something happens to the monkey, and so Borat has the great idea to give as a present his daughter to Michael Pence.
Who he views as to be on the same level as a monkey.
Yeah, and he goes around the States and meets people and buys things from pet stores. Like, what amazes me is that people don't question him.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene where he asks to buy a cage for his daughter, and the person should go, "I'm not going to sell a cage to put your daughter inside." But no, this guy just sells him a cage. Like, is that a spoiler? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's not. Don't worry, I wouldn't worry about it. It's an interesting thing because I feel like sometimes what you have to think about is what have they told the person that they are participating in. Do you know what I mean? Because they definitely think carefully about what they tell the subject the documentary is about.
Yeah.
To then try and elicit the reactions they want. So I think that guy shouldn't have agreed to sell the cage to put his daughter in.
Yeah.
But I think not so much set up. They're not set up, but they are kind of quite cleverly pushed in the direction that Sacha Baron Cohen wants him to go in, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And for example, I think the scene where he goes to the debutante ball and they do that dance.
Yeah.
That was a staged scene.
Was it?
Yeah, the production staged that ball and paid the other people to attend it.
But
so their looks of shock are real.
Yeah, because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, but they were there because the production had made the ball and stuff for them. He hadn't crashed somebody else's debutante ball. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's just interesting sometimes thinking about the behind the scenes nature of like what is actually being told to these people and stuff like that. But it is still wild. I mean, the people he stays with at the end of the film briefly.
Yeah.
When lockdown has started, he genuinely in character had to stay with them for 5 days as Borat without breaking character.
No.
Yeah, he said it was one of the hardest things he's ever had to do.
5 days.
5 days playing Borat and not being able to leave his character for a second.
That is insane.
Mm.
He's such a clever man, though. Like, he manages to make people do whatever he wants, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's a clever guy.
What did you think about the film? Because you must have seen the first one as well.
Well, the first Borat came out when I was 18, so I saw it in the cinema and loved it and thought it was the funniest thing ever and had the poster for it on my wall at uni, etc.
Amazing. Were you one of those people that were like, excited, very nice?
No, see, well, I very quickly got quite bored of that, of people saying, "Oh, my wife, very nice." So, I kind of about a decade ago decided that I was bored of Borat. So when they announced suddenly about a month ago it came out that there was a sequel that had been made, I was kind of rolled my eyes and was really not in the mood for it at all. But then it started coming out that Rudy Giuliani was kind of pranked in it, and Mike Pence as well, and stuff like that. And it was about the lockdown, and it was kind of very intentionally coming out before the election. I was like, oh well, maybe he's got something to say.
Yeah.
So it came out, and I watched it, and I also really enjoyed it. I think that Maria Bakalova, Tutar, is the best thing in it. She is so funny.
She's amazing. Yeah.
And like you said, just so brave to be going out there doing all what she does. So yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as funny as the first one. I think the first one is like more of a just straight comedy, like very, very funny prank film. This one seems like it's got more of like something it wants to say, a message. Yeah. But it is still funny. The acting is good in it. The people he manages to kind of trick are quite interesting. So yeah. I liked it. I liked Borat's subsequent movie film.
Yeah, it was good. I'm glad I watched it, and I think I'm going to watch the first one now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Are you going to watch? I would recommend not watching Bruno though.
Okay. No.
I
Is
didn't
it really
didn't
bad?
really. Yeah, I don't know. It was just. I don't know. It was. I remember watching it, and maybe it's like a. I don't know. I remember not really enjoying it.
Okay.
As much as, but it didn't feel like the character was as interesting. I don't know. Maybe I should watch Bruno again. But I remember when it came out, I went to see it really excited because I love Borat. We were. But
Did you like Ali
Bruno didn't do
G?
it for me. No, I didn't. I've never really watched any Ali G. I know the Ali G film isn't a prank film. It's like a fictional acted film
Yeah.
with a story.
Yeah.
I've never seen that because it's meant to be really bad.
Mm.
And I think the clips I've seen of the Ali G show stuff is looks funny, but I never watched it. I think I was
Okay.
just slightly too young when it was on.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I've never gone back to it. But the Borat movies are, I think they're funny. And an interest. Do you know? So when he's talking to his daughter in Borat's subsequent movie film, and they're talking, it's subtitled
Yeah.
because they're not speaking English. Because Maria Bakalova is Bulgarian, she's speaking Bulgarian, and then Sacha Baron Cohen is speaking in, I think, Hebrew in return. And it's
Wow.
quite similar to in the original. Borat speaks Hebrew to his manager, who's like the kind of character that he's got with him in the first one, and the actor playing his manager is, I think, Armenian and speaks Armenian back. And again, it's kind of
amazing.
trying to, like, if we're thinking of like Sacha Baron Cohen's intentions with the character, it's sort of to poke fun at how America views foreigners rather than to poke fun at foreigners. And it's part of the idea of like they're speaking different foreign languages, but nobody notices.
Yeah.
Because it's either English or not English, essentially. So yeah, no, like you said at the start, he's a clever man.
Yeah. And she's amazing.
So yeah,
they're both amazing.
Yeah, Maria Bakalova. I hope we see much more.
Yeah.
From her.
Yeah, definitely.
Sacha Baron Cohen has been out this week saying that he wants her to get Oscar nominated and stuff, and I don't know if that will. I don't know. Maybe. I think she deserves it. It would be like, I guess when Melissa McCarthy got an Oscar nomination for Bridesmaids, they occasionally will give like comedies or genre movies acting nods. Melissa McCarthy for Bridesmaids.
No.
Yeah, I don't think she won.
No.
But she got a nomination.
Wow. Because she is good in Bridesmaids. But I didn't.
Yeah. Like occasionally somebody will come out and do like Johnny Depp for the first Pirates of the Caribbean film got an Oscar nomination for Jack Sparrow. It was insane. Anyway, let's not get into any time at all talking about Johnny Depp. Have you watched anything else?
Yeah. No. That was my culture catch up because the Marvel universe took most of my week.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about a bit more of it in a minute, which I'm excited to do.
Cool. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, it's only been a few days since we last recorded,
Indeed.
But I have played much more Hades, which I spoke about briefly the other day.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all I want to say is I forgot to mention the other day because you were getting quite skeptical of the idea that you have to redo it over and over again.
Well, it's not skeptical.
Yeah.
It just, for my brain, I know that I would get so frustrated. But if you're a game player, if you're a gamer, of course it's going to be fun. But it's just me.
Yeah.
I wish that I had that kind of patience.
Yeah, no, which is totally fair. But I just want to say I've realised what I didn't really mention is that because you can choose from 6 different weapons and that totally changes how the game plays and it randomises so much stuff. Every time you redo it, it does feel like a totally different game, and it's just the core gameplay loop of going into a room and all these enemies appearing and you having to defeat them is so satisfying because it feels so good to play that it is great. I nearly completed it yesterday.
Ooh.
I got really, really close and I got killed by the final boss. And once you defeat the final boss, you carry on going over it. You still keep repeating it. I don't know why. I don't know what the story reason is, but I'm sure there will be one. But like, it's not just about getting out once. It's about doing it over and over again. So I've almost done my first run.
Every time you finished and like every time you play, is it like a new play? So is it?
But all the characters remember that you've played.
But
remember
for
all your
you,
previous attempts.
Like, is it like a different? Do you play in a different way?
Yeah, totally. Because the weapon you choose has an effect, but then even within that, there's so many changes. Like, for example, my favorite weapon is this spear you can get, and with the spear you can do like a jab, or you can throw the spear at an enemy and then call it back to you, a bit like Thor with his hammer. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can get an upgrade, and the upgrades are random, and there's loads of them. You can get an upgrade where instead of throwing it and it coming back to you, you just throw it, and then a new one appears in your hand. So it turns it from like a back and forth to just a constant thing you can keep chucking out. And just that little change completely changes up all of your strategy, the way you approach different enemies and stuff like that. And and that's just the same weapon. Like outside of that, there's a gun you can get. There's like gloves to do like a punching fist run. There's a sword. There's a shield. It's a really cool game. So I just wanted to mention again that I love that game. It's amazing. Other than that, I've been listening to a band, Bring Me the Horizon. Have you ever listened to Bring Me the Horizon?
No, I haven't.
They're a metal band. Do you know of them?
No.
Okay. They're a metal band from Sheffield in the UK, and they started off as like a hardcore band with the vocals being really screamy. Which I wasn't too into. And then as the years went on, they became a bit more mainstream. And they always drop weird video game references into their song titles and stuff, which always makes me go, I want to like you. And then a couple of years ago, they did an album called Amo, spelled AMO, and I think it's the Portuguese word for love, possibly, I think. And that album is like proper, like there are songs on that album that sound like Ed Sheeran songs. Like some of their fan base really didn't like it because they went really, really poppy and indie.
Okay.
And it's interesting. I actually, it's grown on me a lot. I really like that album, and I think that you should give it a go maybe.
Okay.
But all of this year, they've been putting out singles throughout the year and hinting at a new project coming out, and they've put out an EP called Post-Human Survival Horror. No idea. But it's 32 minutes long, which actually makes it longer than Pinkerton by Weezer, which we can all agree is an album, right?
Yeah.
But they're calling it an EP, which is like meant to be like a extended. I don't know. The difference between an album and EP is silly,
EPs are like much shorter than albums, are they?
Yeah, like 15 minutes normally. But I feel like if you're ever half an hour long, you're just a slightly short album. You're not an EP. But that's my little irritation. It's a cool album. They've worked with a load of different people. So, like, I think there's 7 or 8 songs on this thing, and a few of them have got guests on them. So they've done a song on it with Baby Metal, which I like, obviously.
Sorry.
Yeah, they've done a song on it with Young Blood, who don't ask me anything about Young Blood, but he's very popular with the young people.
Yeah, really popular with
moment.
like teenagers.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last track has Amy Lee from Evanescence on it.
Oh.
Yeah, it is really good. So they've kind of gone a bit heavy again. So it's not like really heavy, thrashy, screamy stuff, but it's proper like hard rock metal kind of sound, and I really like it. I think if you never listened to Bring Me the Horizon, it's a pretty good little taster of what they do because it's just half an hour long, so worth checking out. And beyond that, I've just got 2 films I want to quickly talk to you about. One is called, and I think this is a recommendation for you. I think you would like this film.
You said I think many times. I think.
But I think you would like this one. Okay, it's called Spontaneous. Okay. And it stars Catherine Langford. Do you know Catherine Langford?
It rings a bell.
Catherine Langford is an actress who was in 13 Reasons Why.
Okay.
The Netflix show that I've never watched. I know her from Knives Out. She plays the daughter of Toni Collette in that film. So she's the main character. She plays Mara, a high school student. And the film is basically a love story about her relationship with Dylan, played by Charlie Plummer. The twist is, the film opens with Mara sat in
What, are you going to tell me the twist
school.
Already?
Yeah, because it's the twist of the... It's the reason why it's not just a high school movie, Alex.
Okay.
It's not a twist at the end of the film. The twist on it is that it opens with Mara sat in class one day, and one of the students in her class just explodes out of nowhere. Hence the title Spontaneous, because they just explode.
Amazing.
But it's not an explosion. Like, nobody else is hurt. Like, it doesn't even damage people's clothing. It's just they suddenly burst as like a balloon or something. And the film's quite good about never really gruesomely showing you it happening. It's not like a gory film, but you do see like the blood afterwards and stuff, and people covered in blood from their classmates exploding. And it's not a horror film, even though it sounds horrific. It's a love story about how these two teenagers, react to the fact that they might suddenly explode because nobody knows why it's happening.
You know that
So
that was one of my biggest fears when I was little.
like you would explode.
when I was a teenager, I saw a program of spontaneous combustion, and for like a while, I was It was. I think it must have been like a stupid horror thing, and I was convinced that it might happen, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it's because when I was probably the same age, I read a book about like unsolved mysteries, and one of them was spontaneous combustion.
I think it was a program about unsolved mysteries. Actually, like I don't. Yeah,
there is a TV show called Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what if it happens to me? And it was just in my head for a while. Amazing.
I think my reaction as a kid was like, oh, I hope I see that happened one day. That'd be really weird.
See the difference between me and you, like, oh my god, it's gonna happen to me, and you go, oh, that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, pretty much. Anything that makes the world more mysterious and weird, I'm up for.
Okay.
In my, if you see what I mean. Anyway, it's a great film. It's a really good film. Catherine Langford is amazing in it. She's really, really funny and charming. Like her character is very, it could almost be annoying, I suppose, but like very witty and rebellious and different and strange and like, you know, a bit of a rebellious teen girl. And then Charlie Plummer, who plays her love interest Dylan, is just a really sweet boy. And yeah, it's really good. It starts off very, very funny, but the plot kind of takes it in different directions and it explores a few different ideas as it goes. And it ends. The ending, I sort of, I shed a tear at the ending. And yeah, I loved it. I really liked it. So I'd recommend you checking it out. Don't be put off by what it's about necessarily, because it doesn't treat it like a horror film. It treats it like a love story. So yeah, spontaneous. Then the only film to mention, because I really like it and just I feel like it's not widely seen and people should watch it, is last night I watched Hell House LLC. You heard of Hell House LLC? No. It's a found footage movie. You know, like the Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity, one of those films.
Yeah.
About a group of people who run a company that goes and sets up haunted houses for Halloween, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So the plot of the movie is that they've gone to this abandoned hotel somewhere in America to turn it into a haunted house, and they live in the hotel while they're setting it up as a haunted house. And throughout the movie, you know, you see the footage of them. You know, it'll be like September the 1st, 46 days until opening night, and da-da-da-da. And it kind of goes through like that, and as they get closer and closer to the opening of the haunted house, and at the start it tells you that when the haunted house opened, loads of people died, and it was a big tragedy, and no one knows what happened. So you're watching it lead up to this point, and different weird things are happening, and then the film ends with you seeing in full detail what happened on the night of the opening and stuff. I've watched it 3 times, and the terror of it doesn't diminish for me. It has scared me every time I've watched it. It's one of the most effective horror movies I've seen. And the reason I watched it last night is because Amazon have put up a director's cut of it, which has got 8 new minutes of footage and changes some of the stuff around in the film. And then after the film, it has about half an hour of deleted scenes and making of stuff and things like that they've added on.
How do you sleep?
Last night it was a challenge.
Because, you know, I would sleep with the light on.
There's one. I think the reason it scares me so much is one scene in particular where a guy wakes up and turns on the camera to do like a video diary in the middle of the night, and you can see he's looking at the camera, and you can see over his shoulder that there's something in his room that shouldn't be there, and it's God, it's.
Just you talking about it makes me scared.
But if you like horror, if you like found footage movies, if anyone listening, I think it's on Amazon Prime in just about every country, and it's a really, really good fun. It's a good fun time if you like found footage. So yeah, check out Hell House LLC. If you've never seen it before, I'd maybe just check out the original version before you look at the director's cut, because it's just a bit tighter. But yeah, there we go. That's all of my culture catch-up for today.
Sit down at the back and be quiet and get out your book, because it's time to discuss your homework. Now.
Okay, so you asked me to watch Thor Ragnarok because one of your top 5 actors at the moment is Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, please.
The story of Thor is he's in prison on the planet of Sakaar, and he needs to go back to Asgard and stop Ragnarok, which is the destruction of his world, and which will happen because of his sister Hela, who has woken up because his father has died.
Yeah, Odin has died.
Odin has died. So that's the story.
And Thor's hammer has been destroyed.
Yes. Thor's hammer
Key detail.
has been destroyed. He ends up. How I forgot. How does he end up in the planet of the rubbish planet?
Well, because what happens?
He ends up somehow in the rubbish
Idris
planet.
Elba, Helmdall sends him there, right? Doesn't Idris Elba send him there?
Idris Elba sends him there. I love that guy. Does he send him there?
Yeah.
I don't know. He ends up in the rubbish planet.
Because him and Loki confront Hela just after Odin has died, right?
Yeah.
And Hela destroys Thor's hammer.
Yes.
And
then he asks for help, and then Idris Elba sends him to the planet of rubbish. Perfect.
Yes.
And that's key to say, even if I don't remember, is because that's where you meet the Valkyrie.
Yes.
Played by Tessa
Who
Thompson.
else do you meet there, though? Who rules the planet of rubbish?
The planet of rubbish is ruled by Jeff Goldblum, which is the Grandmaster, which is perfect. And also what I love in the film is first of all directed by Taika Waititi, but also it has a Rachel House as kind of Jeff Goldblum's assistant. And she was the policewoman in Hunt for the Wilder People. And when I saw her...
Yeah. Was she a social worker in Hunt for the Wilder People? A social
worker with the policeman. Yeah, the social worker in Hunt for the Wilder People. And when I saw her, I was like, yes. Her and Jeff Goldblum work very well together. They both have really strange energies, and it was beautiful. So the rubbish planet is really important because that's where you may meet Valkyrie, and that scene where you meet her is hilarious.
Yes, it is. Where she walks down the
of his spaceship. She walks down the plank of a spaceship, and she just falls off, and it was just perfect.
Yeah, because she's
And in that moment, I was like, and I was sold at that moment, and she's great. She's very, very good in it, and I thought she was brilliant. And this film made me love the Thor franchise even more.
Yeah.
Because I love Thor. Like I always loved the Thor. Like from the beginning, I always loved Thor. But this one, I think, has elevated Thor to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. Especially my least favorite Marvel movie is the second Thor film, which I think is pretty rubbish.
Yeah, it is rubbish. The first one is much better, but the
first one's pretty good. The second one's terrible, and then this one for me just
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and I love that at one point, Chris Hemsworth's brother, which is the least famous Hemsworth, and what's his name? I don't know. One of the Hemsworth.
Liam Hemsworth.
Not
Martin
Liam,
Hemsworth,
the other one, Martin maybe.
James Hemsworth.
Plays like Thor in the play. And he plays Thor. I thought that was a really clever move. The film.
Did you spot the other cameos in that bit?
The other cameos in that bit, I did spot them. One of them was Matt Damon as Loki.
Yeah.
And the other one was Sam Neill.
Sam
Neill. When I saw, I was like, yes, Sam Neill. You know, I think it's a brilliant movie. I'm so glad I watched it, and it kind of reignited my I don't know. I just really really enjoyed it. It was just really fun to watch. Good acting,
Yeah.
good comedy, good moments, great directing. Taika Waititi is on fire at the moment.
Yeah,
On
for sure.
fire.
He's in the movie as well. He's very good in the film.
I Who is he in the film?
Korg, he's Korg, the rock man.
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god! I was like, they got another. I'm such an idiot. I was like, they got another Kiwi actor. That's so great. Well done, Taika Waititi. And it's him. And I think
Yeah,
he's
it's
one of the
him.
best characters.
Yeah, he
It's
is.
so
He's very, very
funny.
funny in it.
It's funny, and he's all like, "Oh, well, now I'm going to I tried to start a revolution." It's just beautiful. No, it's a really, really
Yeah.
good movie. Really well done. When the Hulk comes out, that's a beautiful.
I was about to
scene.
say, haven't even mentioned the Hulk yet.
The Hulk is in it. Mark Ruffalo is perfect for the Hulk, by the way.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is really good as the Hulk. But the bit where he's in the arena and the Hulk comes out and the Thor's just like, "Oh, it's you.
Yeah,
I know you."
Yeah, he's a friend from work. Perfect. Perfect. No, I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad I watched it because.
What do you think about the bits where it goes back to, what's it called? The world of Thor. What's Thor's? Asgard.
Yeah.
The Asgard sequences with Hela once Thor is on the scrap planet.
What do you mean?
Because it occasionally will cut back to show what's
Yeah.
happening on Asgard with like the rebellion, Idris Elba's leading people. I felt like the film sort of slows down a little bit during those sequences.
Yeah, that you're right.
And it's Kate Blanchett, isn't it, that
Yeah.
plays Hela?
Yeah.
And she's good, but also her power of being able to just have knives fly out of her all the time is feels a bit, I don't know, not that exciting or not that interesting to watch at times.
I don't know. I really
When they
enjoyed
go
the
back at
film
the
so-
end for the big fight, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But in the middle, it's a bit like, I just want to be back on the garbage world with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. But I don't know. I enjoyed the film so much that I didn't really mind those bits. It was just kind of.
That's
it was
fair.
I feel like it was a really good contrast, like the
I can see that.
action-packed and kind of colorful, rubbish world and
Yeah.
the bleak world of Hela, and she was just like it was so easy for her to get everything. Yeah,
Maybe part of it's from when I've watched it like a second or third time.
Yeah.
Those bits feel like they drag on a bit more because I know that there's really good stuff coming up on the new world. Although Carl Urban, as the guy that replaces Idris Elba as the gatekeeper, is very funny.
Yeah, he is. He's really really good. No, I
He's got
thought
those two guns. Yeah. He's got those two. There's a bit where he's got two guns and he's naming them and he's trying to impress those women.
Yeah.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, okay, great. I'm really glad that you liked it and it led you to watch some more Marvel movies as well. So, a success.
And Tessa Thompson is good.
You'll see her in Endgame a bit, but obviously not as big a role as in Ragnarok, because no one has a big role. There's too many people in Endgame for anyone to have a big role.
I can't believe they managed to get everybody. I was quite impressed by Infinity War to have everybody there at the same time.
Yeah, Endgame is. I prefer Endgame because Infinity War feels a bit like just loads and loads of massive action sequences in a row.
Yeah, and everybody dies.
Yeah, Endgame's got more story to it, I think.
Okay.
And some people prefer Infinity War because I think some people get irritated by the story in Endgame, but I really like what Endgame does and the kind of emotional moments it delivers are pretty fun.
Do you think I should watch Spider-Man Homecoming? Not Homecoming. Yeah, Homecoming, the first one.
Yes. Before you watch I would watch Homecoming before you watch Endgame.
Okay.
And then definitely don't watch Far From Home until you've watched Endgame. Anyway. Shall we talk about Chewing Gum?
Yes, let's talk about chewing gum.
Okay, Chewing Gum. I had to watch Chewing Gum because Michaela Cole, who wrote Chewing Gum and stars in it as Tracy, was one of your top 5 actors, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So Chewing Gum is a comedy a comedy drama or just a comedy?
I think it's a comedy. Well,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
comedy. Comedy. Let's say it's a comedy. Comedy about 24-year-old Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
who lives in Tower Hamlets in London and works in a shop and has had what seems to be an extraordinarily strict religious upbringing, leading to her to be fairly virginal, I think is how Netflix describes her in the description.
Virginal. Okay.
It was Netflix or somewhere was like, the virginal Tracy. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
So Chewing Gum, I watched. So I have watched all of the first series of Chewing Gum. I've watched 6 episodes,
Okay.
but not the second season, just the first. It continues the tradition of you talking about being slightly uncomfortable about sex scenes and then
Oh, I
making me
know.
watch something full of sex.
I know.
scenes.
Why? Why is this happening at the moment? I don't know.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
It's you. It's not me.
I know it's me. Like if you watched Insecure, you'll be or Euphoria, you'll think the same.
Oh,
I
God.
just don't understand.
So I was watching it and I got to the 3rd episode, and when the 3rd episode started and it was again going to be about sex, I was like, oh, come, Alex, what are you doing to me? So ultimately, Chewing Gum, it's an interesting show. It feels like the theme tune's really fun. I like the theme tune. The intro sequence sort of sets it up quite well, I think, because it shows how happy she is. And sort of comfortable almost with her place in the world. Like she wants to change things and achieve things, but she also seems she's a very bubbly person, is Tracy. And it has this odd tone to it where it feels a bit like a children's drama that would be on CBBC, because all the sets are very bright and everyone's very bubbly. But then it's all of the storylines are about various different like sexual encounters and things around that. So it's quite an interesting. I've not watched anything quite like it before. I was definitely skeptical and unsure about it for the first few episodes, but I watched episode 6 earlier today, and episode 6 was the turning point. I turned around on episode 6 and really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I think I like it. And I want to watch the second series.
Okay. Good.
Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like as long there's always a turning point, isn't there, in something?
Yeah.
And then you either stop watching or you watch more. And yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely like, I don't know. Michaela Cole is really, really good in it.
Yeah.
All the actors are really good in it, actually. The actress who plays her sister, whose name I don't know, but I've seen her in Year of the Rabbit with Matt Berry and a few other things, and she's really good. And the actor that plays the boyfriend of her friend, he was in The Stranger on Netflix, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool to see them in different things as well. And I really like the guy, the boyfriend she has at the start of the series, who she thinks is gay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a scene in the first episode where he's like, "Don't you walk away from me," or something, and then he just gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
That was funny. It's definitely weird how similar it feels to Fleabag as well in some ways, like with the constant turning to the camera and discussing what's going on.
Yeah.
With the camera, it feels like. And did it come out before Fleabag?
I think so, yeah.
Around the same time?
I think
I was
before.
like, yeah, no, because it's interesting. It's doing that when Fleabag did it as well. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think the only actor I'm a bit unsure of is the guy that plays Connor.
Yeah, he's quite annoying, isn't he?
He's very sort of like a blank slate in it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's intentional. He's intentionally meant to be an obviously not very good boyfriend for her, not a good partner.
Yeah.
Because she's just sort of. I mean, that's the impression I get. She's just sort of. Because the kind of plot of it is that she's rebelling against her upbringing and has decided she wants to kind of have a slightly more normal life.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Like more like conventional life, yeah.
Conventional, yeah,
Yeah.
conventional.
Yeah.
And like, so she's made this decision. She's decided that Ronald is not going to work. So then she just sort of immediately falls into Connor,
Yeah.
and he kind of you can see by the end of series 1 that she's not really content with him, and she's going to go for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Good.
Good
So you're
film.
gonna watch the second season and then
I'm gonna watch the second season. I'll report back like I did with Sex Education.
yes, please.
And I enjoyed it. It's good. It's good. It's weird. It's different, but it's good.
Good. I'm glad.
Good.
Good times.
I think my favourite episode of her series is where she wants to work in the perfume shop,
Yeah.
and the guy convinces her to deal cocaine, and then she drinks a glass full of cocaine, I guess.
Yeah.
The kind of the confidence she has going into that job interview is very, very funny in that episode.
Yeah.
And she's so convinced that she's going to be the perfect saleswoman.
Yeah.
Even when she's not, she still thinks she is.
Yeah.
You've got to admire that level of like self-assurance.
Yeah.
For sure.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
Boom.
Before
Do you
we
want to start?
Before we
Go
start,
on.
can I say something?
No.
Okay. So let's start.
No, you can go on.
So I was amazed when I made my list. And I know it's not something new I'm saying, and I know it's not, a discovery, but how white and male, especially, my list is. So
Yeah.
it's mainly male. Well, it's only male white directors. Well, male directors definitely. White, not so much. But I mean, so I did a little bit of research, and I only checked the Oscars and Cannes Film Festival. So in the Oscars, only 5 women have ever been nominated for an Oscar.
Yep.
5 directors,
Yep.
female directors have been nominated, and only 1 has won.
Catherine Bigelow.
Yes,
Right?
for
Yep.
the what's it called? The Hurt
The
Locker.
one about the Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker. And then in Cannes Film Festival, the first woman who won the Best Director was Jane Campion for The Piano. Amazing film.
Okay.
In 1993. And the next woman that won was Sofia Coppola in 2017. The second woman to win the Best Director in 71 years, which is ridiculous, for a film called The Beguiled, which is a film
The Beguiled.
The Beguiled, and a film that
Yes.
I haven't heard of.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
I would like to watch it, and so it's crazy how it's still so male dominated. I don't know. I just wanted to say it.
You're right to say it. It
Yeah.
is a problem with Hollywood and the film industry generally.
Yeah.
Is that there's not enough opportunities for female directors. It would seem.
Do you have the same in your list?
Yeah. Largely Caucasian men,
Yeah.
for sure. White men. But it's part of it is growing up in growing up watching films coming out of an industry where that is 95% of the films, and it's unfortunate. And there's definitely it's a problem, and I'm sure there are extremely creative women out there that would like an opportunity. Like I don't think you can make the argument that there are just less women that want to do it. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true at all. And amazing enough that Sofia Coppola had the platform that she had because of her father, because maybe without her father, we wouldn't have had Sofia Coppola. Although she's very talented, as we can see from Hollywood, there don't seem to be many women directors.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's not like her success isn't necessarily due to her dad, but her ability to get into the industry, you could accredit partly to possibly her father.
Yeah, so well done, Francis Ford Coppola, for creating Sofia.
Yeah, and for making the Godfather.
Yes. Yeah.
But mainly for creating Sofia Coppola.
The Godfather, the
So-
longest films ever made. I don't think I've
I've
ever
only-
been able to watch an entire Godfather.
I've only watched the first one and the second one once, and I've never seen the third one. But
I fell asleep in the first one. I fell asleep in the second one. I didn't even try the third one.
So,
I'm the one on my wedding day.
Yeah. So no, I.
but it's
haven't
funny though,
been-
because like you're right, I would fall asleep in The Godfather, but I would also sit and watch 5 episodes of The Sopranos in a row and have absolutely no problem.
Yeah. Well, that was different. That was funny.
No, I know, but it's just because that's longer. That would take longer to do, but for some
Yeah.
reason, it's easier to binge a bunch of TV sometimes and watch a whole. Anyway, what's your favorite director, Alex?
Okay, my 5th favorite director is being added this week because of a film that you made me watch, and I thought I'm gonna put him in. And my number 5 is Taika Waititi.
Oh, like it. Love to hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I put Taika Waititi because I think he's amazing. What he's done with Thor, just the ideas, and the problem, before we carry on, the problem that I was having was like, do I like Taika Waititi because I like how he writes, or do I like Taika Waititi on how he directs? And I'm there's a fine line for me and directing and writing, but
You're
he's
true. It's
not-
that auteur thing, isn't it? Like the full creative
yeah
product.
yeah, but he is
if you think about,
amazing.
anyway, sorry, go on.
No, you can say.
All I was going to say it to support you is that like part of directing, as well as being choosing the camera shots, etc. Part of it is getting performances out of actors, and that is where his true skill lies, I
Exactly.
think.
Exactly. What he's created, and that's what sold me this week, Thor Ragnarok. What he's created there was really beautiful. Not just just how the characters were and how amazing the connection between characters was, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to say before between Jeff Goldblum and I forgot her name, but the same person from
Yeah.
The Hunt for the Wilder People. The connection they had was so great that it's hard to find that kind of connection if you don't have a director that makes you have that connection. And I think he manages to make things funny in a really simple way and things effective in a really simple, like things just flow.
Yeah.
And
And also in a very unique way. I've never quite, like, he's a really fresh voice. Like,
yeah, definitely.
no one quite makes comedy like he does.
No, and I think he should definitely make the new Akira. Like,
Oh,
I think because when I said meh meh meh, but I think he could just bring something out of the bag that would be amazing, and
I agree.
the amount of range he has, because he went from Flight of the Conchords to Thor Ragnarok, and in the meantime he did Jojo Rabbit and What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah.
Hunt for the Wilder People, which the scenery that he shoots in Hunt for the Wilder People is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
he's great, and I think he's amazing, and I think he's just going to get better. Like, it's just growing and growing and growing, and I love his style, and I love what he does with films. And
Do you know what his
yeah.
next project is?
I don't.
He's making a film called Next Goal Wins,
Okay.
which is based on a documentary about a Dutch-American man's efforts to lead the American Samoa national football team to qualification in the World Cup. And they were famously the worst football team in the world. I'm really excited to see what he does with that story.
Yeah. No.
And then after that, he's making another Thor movie. Do you know what
Yeah.
his next Thor movie is about?
Thor. What's it called? Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that, and he's doing a Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad.
No, that's James Gunn.
So why is it on his thing in IMDb?
Because he's in it. He's acting in it.
He's acting. Oh, how exciting!
Yeah.
Um.
Yes, it's weird actually. They did at some Comic-Con or something recently, they put a big thing together where they showed every single actor that's in that new Suicide Squad movie with the character they're going to play. But then they didn't they just showed Taika Waititi and didn't say his character, so there's some kind of mystery around who he's playing in that film.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah, but I thanks to you, I put him.
Yeah,
I put him in my
have you
top
watched
five.
Have you watched The Mandalorian on Disney
No,
Plus?
I'm going to.
So this is how good a director he is. The finale of The Mandalorian. I won't spoil any plot details, but the finale of the first season of The Mandalorian. I was watching it, and I was like, this is something that is different about this. Like there was a scene with two stormtroopers having a conversation that was really funny, and I was like, this just isn't. Something's changed. And I looked it up, and he had directed that episode. Like you can kind of tell when he's behind the camera, and that is definitely the sign of a great director.
Yeah, because I don't think Thor Ragnarok would have been so good if he hadn't been the director of it.
No, I mean, as good as Chris Hemsworth is, he had played Thor 5 times by that point,
but
and no one had gotten a performance like that.
He brought Chris Hemsworth out, he just got what he did before in Thor. He took it to a different level, and I was just like, yes.
And Chris Hemsworth had shown he could do comedy. He was in like the Ghostbusters reboot. He was pretty funny in that. I think Taika Waititi knew that he had somebody that could do comedy, and he just pushed him and got just such a funny, charming performance out of him. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And he seems like a really nice guy, and it just seems like it would be incredible to work with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I had to. It was just Thor Ragnarok sold it.
he nearly made my list. I was very tempted to put him on there, but he's in my honorable mentions instead. But I think it's a strong choice.
Oh, thank you very much, George.
You're very welcome. So my number 5.
Yes.
My number 5 is a director who just makes film after film after film that I think is gorgeous beyond possibility. And it is a director called Denis Villeneuve.
Oh.
Do you know Denis Villeneuve?
I don't think.
I think he's French. I hope he's French. I don't hope he's French. I think he's French. I'm pretty sure he's French. Let me just double check here. Denis Villeneuve. Denis Villeneuve, yeah, French-Canadian. He's French-Canadian film director, producer, screenwriter. He's made a few films, among them Prisoners, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. Okay. Have you seen that?
No.
Just a wonderful... I'll talk about it in a minute. Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal, Sicario. Have you seen Sicario?
No.
Arrival. Have you seen Arrival?
No.
Blade Runner 2049?
No.
And he is set to release... In fact, this December he was set to release a new adaptation of Dune, the David Lynch... Well, David Lynch directed it in the 70s. It's the Frank Herbert sci-fi novel from the 60s. The trailer for that looks, oh my good God, amazing. And it's just been delayed a whole year to next December now because of coronavirus. But much worse things have happened as a result of that. But anyway, so you've not seen any of his films?
No.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think you probably know all of my directors, and I probably don't know any of yours.
No, you will know some of mine. I talked a few weeks ago on the top 5 movie soundtracks episode about film scores that are very like the Under the Skin score. It works with atmosphere and tone rather than... His films have a lot of that in them. It's very atmospheric, very tone. Like, he uses music. Sicario is a film about the Mexican drug cartels, basically. And it stars Emily Blunt and Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin as people working to kind of put a stop to drug trafficking across the Mexican border.
Okay.
He manages to, using the score that his composer puts together and the way he shoots, he turns it into a horror film. It's not like there's no monster, like it's not a horror film, but it feels like he shows the true horror of how these Mexican drug cartels behave by filming their actions like it's a horror film. It's an incredible movie. It's a genius piece of work. The first time I watched it, I wasn't expecting anything like it because I didn't really know him as a director, and I didn't like it. I thought it was really dull. And then once I'd kind of watched some of his other movies and I went back and tried it again and kind of was in the rhythm of him as a director, I just loved it. He's got a very particular rhythm. His films don't necessarily move at a very quick pace, but they always tell a really detailed story with characters that you can kind of really get to learn to know and understand, and it's just wonderful. I love his films. Prisoners, one of his earlier movies, is about Hugh Jackman plays a dad whose, I think, daughter disappears.
Okay.
And Jake Gyllenhaal plays a cop kind of investigating the disappearance, and Hugh Jackman decides that Jake Gyllenhaal's not doing his job quickly enough and takes matters into his own hands. And again, it's just a really brutal, kind of nasty movie in a way. But it's so engrossing. It's one of my favourite movies. I really like Prisoners. One of Jake Gyllenhaal's best performances. Definitely Hugh Jackman's best performance ever. He's another director that can just get brilliant performances out of people. And I mean, one of my favourite movies of all time, my favourite movie of all time for years was Blade Runner. He made a sequel to Blade Runner that is somehow as good as Blade Runner, which shouldn't be possible. Should not be possible. But I sat in a cinema watching Blade Runner 2049 and I was just enraptured for the entire movie. He is an amazing piece of work, that Blade Runner sequel, and it makes me so excited to see his Dune adaptation.
Yeah, that's
when it eventually comes out. But yeah, you haven't seen any of his movies, but
No.
he's really cool. It's a good director. You should check him out.
Definitely.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Blade Runner for quite some time.
It like similar to Endgame. It's a long old film, but it's good. Another one with a great soundtrack as well. Okay, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is director duo, which most of the time work together. They're brothers. You probably know who they are.
Yeah, I think I know who it is.
Who is it?
Is it the Coen brothers?
Yeah.
What a good choice.
My number 4 is the Coen brothers.
Cool.
Very well. It's kind of, I don't know, maybe a boring choice. You know, everybody loves the Coen brothers, but I love all of their films. So I was just like, well, might as well put them in. You know, we share a love for the Big Lebowski, and that's again.
I adore the Big Lebowski.
I was thinking, there's a really fine line between writing and directing, isn't it? So it's kind of
the
Coen brothers are a directorial duo. Yes.
Yeah, I think often only one of them is credited as director, but that's because of some odd guild rules rather than.
Yeah.
They do direct as a pair. Yeah.
But yeah,
Joel and Ethan.
Joel and Ethan and Coen, and from
Joel, Ethan, and Coen.
Yes, shut up. You know, they directed like the Hatsucker Proxy, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Inside Louis Davies, A Serious Man, Barton Fink, Burn After Reading, Intolerable Cruelty, which I love, etc., etc. And they just create perfect films, which are funny and interesting, and they kind of have similar themes. A lot of them are to do with crime, but they manage to do them in different ways, using different styles. And like if you can compare, for example, Fargo with Oh Brother Where Art Thou, like they're just two complete different universes. Yeah, and there isn't really anything like the Coen brothers. They're quite unique in what they create, and sometimes
quite unique.
Yeah, it's just you don't. I believe that they're quite unique. You don't really see anything like them, and that's why I put them in, because I think they're a gift. I think the Coen brothers.
Yeah, definitely.
And
when I was watching The Devil All the Time a few weeks ago on Netflix, do you know that? We talked about that. Do you remember? It's got Tom Holland in it.
Yeah.
That's about, because I mean the Coen brothers are at their best, I think, when they're making films about ordinary people encountering horrific events or extraordinary events in some
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And The Devil All the Time kind of fits into that mold. Or like someone getting in over their head. That's a big like theme for them. And I was watching The Devil All the Time and I was like, this feels like a Coen brothers movie. Like really dark things are happening to really nice
Yeah.
people or very ordinary people.
Yeah.
But then the thing that sets them apart is how funny there's always a real line of humor going through
Yeah.
their films that kind of like takes the edge off how brutal some of the kind of actions and events
Yeah.
can be. And I think
Yeah.
when you like, I think I'd agree in terms of them being unique in that they balance that better than anyone else.
Yeah. And also when the use of color, if you think about "O Brother Where Art Thou" and "True Grit," and maybe even "Raising Arizona," like the color palette
that
they
film.
use is just it's different. It's just kind of they create like a nostalgic kind of feel to things.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting you say that because "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" is notable in the history of film for being the first ever movie to be entirely color corrected in post production, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why
was amazing
it's
to
all
see.
sepia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was amazing to see because we were alive and can remember that. And that was I loved watching "O Brother Where Art Thou," and just thinking, wow, this is different. And yeah, so I think there is nothing like the Coen brothers. There is nobody like them. There is nobody that could create cinematic experiences like them, and such a variety of cinematic experiences. So I love them.
I would agree. I think I've only ever seen one Coen Brothers movie that I didn't like.
Which was?
The Lady Killers remake they did.
Okay, yeah. I've never
just
watched that one. I was not interested.
Yeah, no, I would.
Yeah.
It's just very, very silly. Like
Yeah.
like lots of fart jokes and stuff. Was not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, they are wonderful.
Wonderful, brilliant, and yeah, maybe predictable. My choices maybe today are predictable, but
I don't think that. I mean, yeah, but that doesn't need to be. That's not a bad thing.
But
It's what you
but
love.
that's the thing for me. Like they are perfect, and that's why I have them.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love the Coen brothers. They are the best. I mean, the Big Lebowski, Fargo. The fact they made Fargo and won loads of awards for it and then immediately followed it up with The Big Lebowski. I mean, how does anyone have that level of creativity in them?
I don't know.
And I love the fact that
I make
Bill
one
Murray...
during a week and I'm exhausted.
Bill Murray agreed to do the Garfield films because he thought the Coen brothers had written the script.
And they didn't.
No, it was somebody else with a similar surname.
Oh,
like they're Cohen, right? And somebody called Cohen had written.
No, Bill.
Script.
What a mistake.
Yeah. I don't know if that's just a funny story Bill Murray tells, but I like to think it's true.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is the only director on my list that primarily makes foreign language or international films. He is a Korean director.
Ooh.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes. Baby.
Bong Joon-ho. I really like Korean cinema. I think there's a sensibility to Korean cinema that you don't quite get anywhere else in the world. I think I heard someone describe it once as being Korean directors are able to shift tone really quickly. Like they'll have a very serious scene and then a really, really funny scene just within seconds of each other. And they somehow manage to like, and not in the way the Coen brothers will have like dark comedy running through their thrillers. Like a Korean director will put in, like a great example is in Snowpiercer, a Bong Joon-ho movie. Have you seen Snowpiercer?
No, I haven't actually.
So it's one of his English language films.
Okay.
I think it might be not his only one, but no, it's an English language movie. It stars Chris Evans as a guy who is on a the plot of the film is that the Earth is frozen, and the only remaining humans that are alive live on a train that constantly circles the globe.
Okay.
And it's a class metaphor in the way that Parasite is as well. It's one of his themes that he goes back to often. So it's the idea is that the poorest people live on the back end of the train and eat these kind of protein bars and are all filthy and dirty, etc. and
Okay.
Chris Evans is kind of the leader of them in a way. And then the rich people live at the front of the train and have really nice things. And the film is about Chris Evans trying to lead the poor people to the front of the train to take over and, make it fairer, essentially. Now, there's a bit in the film where they get to this room. I can't remember it exactly, but they get to this room and it's this big clear space, and a load of soldiers come in from the other end to try and stop them making their way up, and they're going to have to fight them. And it's this really intense, very serious scene. They start this fight, and then Chris Evans just stands on a fish and slips over and falls down. And it's this mad, hilarious bit of slapstick in the middle of this incredibly tense, dramatic action sequence. And that ability to just be perfectly comfortable putting in something completely ludicrous and ridiculous in the middle of something that's quite serious and get away with it. I think that's what I love about Korean cinema, and that's what I love about Bong Joon-ho as well. I love a lot about Bong Joon-ho. He makes interesting movies. How many of his films have you seen? What have you seen?
I've seen Parasite,
Yes.
and that's it.
Have
I think.
you seen Okja?
No, I think I've only seen Parasite of his.
Okay, so he's made...
Has he done
Go on.
Old Boy?
No,
that's the one from
Park Chan-wook.
Park Chan-wook, who's done The Handmaiden.
Yes, yeah.
So
he's
I've only
phenomenal
seen
as well.
Parasite.
So he's done a great movie called Mother, which is about a woman trying to look after her son who is accused of a crime, and her son is sort of developmentally disabled. And that's a really good film. Anyway, he did the first film of his I saw was called Host, which is like a monster movie, like a Godzilla film, but it's not a Godzilla movie, but it's a monster movie in the vein of Godzilla. But it's about this kind of giant sea creature thing that attacks, I think it's Seoul, or attacks a Korean city. And again, it opens with this really oddly funny scene about these two American guys having a conversation in English about pouring away this chemical, and that's what leads to the monster being created. But then it focuses in on this guy who's trying to get... It's the same actor that plays the dad in the poor dad in Parasite, who he uses again and again. He's like a kind of guy that runs a news agents on the riverbank, and he's trying to kind of connect with his daughter who gets kidnapped by the monster, and he's trying to rescue her. And he, it's a monster movie, but it focuses in on the characters, and that's kind of a bit like why I love Jurassic Park. That's what makes his films work, is that he just cares so much about his characters. And then the story comes once you care about the characters, essentially, and that's a difficult thing to pull off, and he does it really well. So yeah, Mother, Host, Parasite, Snowpiercer, Okja, all stellar movies. I can't wait to see what he does in the future, and I hope he continues. I hope he gets to continue making interesting films and doesn't end up kind of getting dragged into the studio system, which might not be true of the next person on my list, but we'll talk about them in a minute.
Okay.
So yeah, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho. I really want to watch Okja. It looks amazing.
Okja's really cool, really different and weird. Jake Gyllenhaal, keep bringing him up. He puts in a great performance in Okja.
Cool.
All right, what's your number three?
My number 3 is another director that I have talked about before, and he's for me an obvious choice, and it was one of the first ones. Like the next 3 are the first ones I put in, and I just had to choose which one was first, second, or third, because the next 3 are like my unmovables.
Yeah.
Yes. So the next one is a director called Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Yes. I love Quentin. I love all of his films. I think a bit like the Coen brothers, he's so unique in what he has done, and so not like you said before, not following the system, not following the studio, but going his own way.
Yeah.
Which I really admire, especially now. It's quite hard not to like follow, do the big films and do them a certain kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. I bet he could have very easily just taken the money and made a load of pretty good blockbusters and stuff, and instead he decided to do his own thing.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's what he does. He does his own thing. He doesn't follow. For example, I remember having an argument a few years ago in a pub with someone, and he's saying, "Oh, well, he uses music from anything else." It's like, yeah, but he doesn't follow the rules. He does his own rules. He uses music that he wants to use. He uses music
Yeah.
that he enjoys listening to. He uses the music in his own way, in his own style, and that's what it is. Why criticize something that is different? Why do we have to follow a pattern? And I think that's what he doesn't do. He doesn't follow the flow. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
what the studio want, and he
Yeah.
still managed to have an incredible career and incredible films. And they've changed a lot throughout the years. He has extremely, sometimes you have like scenes where he has extremely long dialogues and you go, where is this going to go, you know? And there's a scene where there's one in Jackie Brown where Samuel L. Jackson and Robert De Niro have the longest conversation in a little pickup truck, and then Samuel L. Jackson shoots him. Like random things that these conversations are going to lead to something that is not right or not
Yeah.
supposed to happen. So I like that they kind of him dragging on a moment for the inevitable to happen, because Samuel L. Jackson is going to be angry with Robert De Niro, but that moment that has been dragged on for a very long time is just
Yeah.
pure genius, because something bad is going to happen. Something is definitely going to happen. Just
Yeah.
do it. But he doesn't.
And he does that very well in the opening of Inglourious Bastards as well, doesn't he?
Yes. And in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think he just switched gears again and created something really different. And I think, like the Coen brothers, he's totally unique. He creates incredible things, and also he creates like different realities that in Inglourious Bastards, in the end, they kill Hitler, but that doesn't happen. So he just created a different reality where the oppressor wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, historical visionism.
Yeah,
He does it again in Django Unchained, doesn't he? It's a very interesting.
I really enjoy, because why can we not see that? Why can we not just have something that, because it is kind of, I don't know, I think it creates a different world, like a comic book in a way. So if you look at it in a way that is a comic book, then I don't know. I think he's unique and incredible, and I love all of his work. And again, like the Coen brothers, maybe predictable, but I think he's great.
I think something I really like about him is that he doesn't mind reminding you that you're watching a film. Like, his films are films. He's not trying to kind of create necessarily a real world. He knows it's a heightened world.
Yeah.
And then anything can happen and it can work. And it's what makes his movies so exciting to watch, especially the first time, because you really don't know what's going to happen. Like anything, it could go into a cartoon. He could turn up and start talking to you.
Yeah.
Like literally anything could happen.
Yeah.
Like,
but I rewatched.
It's great.
I rewatched Pulp Fiction the other day, and I just loved it. I just loved it again. It's just an incredible film, and all of them are incredible. Like, I could watch them over and over again and just enjoy the soundtrack. And I think he's amazing.
What's his best film?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's your favorite?
That's hard, because for the longest time, Kill Bill was one of my favorites, just because I really enjoyed all the different kind of styles he put in one film. He uses different cameras, different styles. He put animation in it, and I thought it was so clever. But now, after rewatching them recently, quite a few of them, I'll have to say it's between Jackie Brown and Pulp Fiction.
Interesting.
Jackie Brown, because I love Jackie Brown.
My favourite is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And it's amazing because you watched it and you said it was rubbish, and I watched it.
Yeah, I hated it.
And I said, George, you are crazy. How did you not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? And I thought I would have to end a friendship. and then you watched it again, and you liked it, and I was like, oh, thank God, because I can't live without George.
Yeah, yeah. That's the most I've ever changed my view on a film, I think, between viewings. I went from being really disappointed to it. I definitely think it's my favourite movie of his. It's such a
Yeah.
great hangout movie. Like, the plot doesn't matter. It's just really
Yeah.
entertaining scenes. Or,
Yeah.
like, you can just put it on and just it's great. I
It's
really
funny
love
'cause
it. I think it's
I watched
genius.
it in a cinema in Italy where they do English films, and
Yeah.
it was kind of embarrassing because I went with my mum, and there's some scenes that are just funny, but they're not supposed to be funny. They're just funny because Quentin Tarantino made them funny. And I was crying of laughter. But in Italy, it's all like Quentin Tarantino's all highbrow, and everybody was really serious. And it was just crazy because there are some really funny moments in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because they're quite bizarre.
Yeah.
They're quite surreal, and so you laugh because you go, "Oh well, there's no other reaction." But it was like this: the cinema in Italy was silent.
One bit in particular I remember being funny when it feels like it shouldn't be is when Brad Pitt throws the can at that woman's face at the end.
Yes, that is.
And it's so violent, but it's just really, really funny.
Oh yeah, no, I think he's great, and I don't know, I love his films, and again, unique
Yeah.
person, and yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Right, no, a brilliant choice. I love Quentin Tarantino. Okay,
yes,
my number 3 is a British filmmaker whose career I've been following for a few years, and well, we'll talk about it in a minute. But I love his earlier films. He is a director called Ben Wheatley.
okay.
Ben Wheatley. Do you know Ben Wheatley, Alex?
Give me some titles.
Kill List, Sightseers, A Field in England, High Rise, Free Fire.
I think I might have seen A Field in England.
That's in black and white, and it's got Reece Shearsmith from the League of Gentlemen is in it,
I think.
and it's very strange.
No, I think you talked to me about it. That's why I know the title.
Probably.
No, I have not seen A Field in England. You Oh no, I haven't seen that. No, you
I
talked
was
to
a
me
bit
about
like,
it.
you'd remember if you'd seen that.
Yeah, no.
So he's a genius.
Yeah, okay.
The first film of his I saw was a movie called Kill List, and I don't want to spoil it because if you haven't seen it, the act of seeing it for the first time is just absolutely glorious. It's incredible. I remember watching that movie and it finished, and I watched it with my. And if you're listening, you've seen Kill List, you'll know how bizarre this would be. I watched it with my brother and my mum on holiday in a holiday cottage, and we were not anticipating what went down in that film. It was it was completely wild. What I found out recently that I had no idea about is that he constructed the film so it will fold in on itself. I heard someone being interviewed who worked on the movie, talking about how he has a version where that he plays the end of the movie. If you start playing the end of the movie in reverse on top of the movie at the start, the scenes kind of match as they meet in the middle, which is just in like that doesn't matter because nobody's ever going to be able to watch it. Like it's such a crazy thing to do. Just to do it because thematically it works for the story, but to make it work if you actually did it and synced it up properly, yeah. Kill List is a great film. It's about a guy. It's about a guy who is a sort of assassin for hire, and some jobs he goes on with his partner. And to say any more than that would really spoil it. But it's a great movie. Sightseers is a really good like dark comedy. It's about a woman who meets up with her new boyfriend to go on a caravanning holiday, and they go caravanning together, and they're really odd and strange, and then they get into an argument in a field with a dog walker, and the boyfriend just murders this dog walker, and then the film becomes like them going on this killing spree in like rural England on this caravan, and it's so like it's so funny. She says. Like she's like, oh my God, you just killed that person. And he goes, he's not a person, he's a Daily Mail reader.
Amazing.
And as soon as that scene happened, I was like, yep, I'm in. I love it. Field in England is this absolutely bonkers movie set. It's in black and white, set during the Civil War, and it's about these three people that get high on mushrooms in a field and look for treasure. And it's just,
Amazing. It does look pretty crazy.
It's really crazy, fantastic. High Rise is a Tom Hiddleston movie. It's an adaptation of a book. Basically about people that live in this. It's kind of set in the past, but people have moved into this futuristic skyscraper that's meant to be like a whole community in one building, essentially. And it's sort of about how the community goes slowly insane. And I think it opens, like the first scene takes place at the end, and it opens with him like eating a dog, and then it's like, I'm going to tell you how I came to eat this dog. And then it's just this absolutely mad story of this community just breaking down and going crazy. Again, I watched it with my parents and I loved it, and my parents hated it so much. And then and then after that, he made a film called Free Fire, which was like, Martin Scorsese produced it. He made it in America. Brie Larson's in it, actually. It's got a really amazing cast. And it's sort of about, the idea is it's a gunfight. It's a shootout scene that takes place that lasts for like an entire film. Like the entire movie is one long shootout, and even I got a little bit tired of the gunfights by the end of that. Like Free Fire was sort of the first movie of his where I sort of wasn't really sure about it, and he's just now put out, like over the last week, an adaptation of Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen the Netflix adverts for that. That's his newest film, and it's gotten terrible reviews. And I haven't been able to bring myself to watch it yet because I love his earlier work so much, and I really want him to carry on being a great director. And then he was announced as directing the sequel to the Tomb Raider reboot, and then that seems to have fallen through, and then it just got announced that he's directing the sequel to the Meg, the Jason Statham shark film. So I don't quite know what's happening with Ben Wheatley, but on the strength of how much I adore his earlier films, he's takes this place on my list. But I really, really hope he finds his footing again. I'm sure he will. And maybe he'll make the Meg 2, and it will be incredible, and you'll be able to watch it in reverse, and it'll match up with the start. But some part of me suspects that's not going to be the case. But yeah, I love Ben Wheatley. He's so full of creativity and energy, and he's so interesting and different. I mean, A Field in England, I've never seen a film like that before. But yeah, I'm just slightly worried that he's getting kind of sucked into the studio system a little bit and is losing what makes him unique. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. So yeah, you've not seen any of his movies, so there's not much conversation to have. But there we go.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. What's your number 2?
My number 2, I think I spoke about this director constantly since the beginning of the podcast, or at least I spoke about him many times. And my next 2 directors are that. So my next director is from Japan. And can you guess who it is?
I can guess who it is. Do you want me to guess who it is?
Yeah.
It's Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, it's Koreeda. Is it Koreeda?
Yeah. Koreeda.
Oh, okay.
Is it because I texted you before?
It is because of that.
Yeah. So I texted you before. I texted George before asking if animation directors, I could put in animation directors. And then it opened a big can of worms. So I stopped it after I texted you. I was like, ooh. And then I just decided that, better close that box and maybe talk about another time when we talk about direct. So maybe we should do an episode of that one day because
maybe.
The list is too long. But yeah, Hirokazu Koreeda, who's a Japanese director. I spoke about him before when I talked about Our Little Sister, Shoplifters, and The Truth. But he has done a lot of films. So one of the biggest one that is known in Europe is probably Shoplifters.
Shoplifters won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
Yeah. So I think that's the most famous one. But I love this film director. I think he creates some films that are just incredible. The attention to detail, to the scenery, and to everyday life. And I think if anybody else did a film like this and it wasn't him, I think it would be a quite boring film.
Yeah.
I think he manages to create these beautiful films where everything is important. Every scene is made to be important. So shots of nature, shots of like everyday life, shots in a different specific way. Really contrast between darkness and light. So when for example they might be on a beach, it's so bright but so idyllic and so beautiful, and darkness is so warm and important and cozy. Like I what he does with his films is absolutely incredible, and he's just amazing. He's just amazing, and I think whatever the hype, like I said, I think it's real because he's so good, and he just can take anything that would be people shoplifting and create an incredible film that anybody can relate to it from any part of the world, you know? And so, I love his films, and I love that he's shifted and he's come to Europe, and he managed to create an incredible film in Europe called The Truth, which it's, really hard to, because you can understand if he went to the UK or an English speaking country to do it, but you went to France, which is a completely different reality, more different than America and England, because as we know in as being in Japan, like a lot of like influence are from America and England. Like if you get Europe, you get a lot of that. France is a different step. And to be able to do that in France, I think it was amazing. And then one of his newest film, which is called The Third Murder, he left the family and went into a different realm, which I haven't really seen with him before. So I thought that is like constantly trying to do different things, but by keeping the same incredible style. So that's why he's my number 2.
Good choice. I've seen one of his movies, Our Little Sister, and I definitely agree with the idea that somebody else making that story, it could be incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Because there's not loads that happens or goes on, but you're right, he makes it very, very compelling and not boring at all for a moment. It's amazing. I think that film's incredible. So no, that's a good pick.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is a director who I've spoken about a little bit before on the podcast, particularly in the top 5 film music episode, and it is the American director John Carpenter.
Yes, mate.
I absolutely adore his films. I think he's the most entertaining director of all time. In terms of just sitting down and just enjoying a film and having a brilliant time, I don't think you can get much better than John Carpenter, in my opinion. He's made some of the most perfect films of all time. Have you seen any of his films, Alex? Do you want me to run through some?
Yes, please.
He's done Halloween, The Fog,
yeah.
Christine, Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. He's done a few more, but they're the kind of main ones that I like.
What do you think? The answer is
no.
No, because they're scary. George,
they're not all
talking
scary.
to me about somebody like on a camera in the darkness freaks me out. And
they're not all scary. He's made some non-scary films, most particularly. I haven't actually seen them, but he made Assault on Precinct 13 was his first film, was an action film, and Escape from New York and Escape from LA. And I haven't actually seen those either, because I have mainly watched his horror films. But Big Trouble in Little China isn't a horror movie. That's just an incredible Kurt Russell comedy, something.
Okay.
Big Trouble in Little China is amazing. But yeah, I
George,
mean, Yes.
George.
Yeah.
Next Halloween, when the sun sets and someone is alone, he kills.
So yeah, we just paused for a pee break briefly, and I checked my phone, and they've just put out a teaser trailer for the next Halloween movie. That's how relevant
they?
John Carpenter is. Yeah, literally, I checked my phone, and the first notification was like Halloween Kills teaser trailer. I was like, yes, please.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would it be coming out at the cinemas or streaming services?
Alex, I should have
Sorry.
already seen this movie. This movie was meant to come out in October, and it got
Yeah.
delayed an entire year to next October. And
Mm.
never mind.
No, I know. It's upsetting. This year
It
is
is.
upsetting.
It is for loads of reasons, and films are well. I mean, the film industry is like any industry; it's struggling, and jobs are at risk, and that's the real, sadness.
Yeah.
Anywho, John Carpenter, he makes great films. He does make some terrifying movies. Halloween, but see, a lot of people who've watched Halloween now for the first time say to me, I'm making it sound like I'm some kind of scholar that people come up to, but like when my friends or when people tell me they've watched Halloween for the first time recently, they say they don't think it's scary because it's so, it was made in 1979. It just doesn't have the sensibilities of a horror film from today. But I think it's still, to me, it's still one of the most terrifying movies of all time. It's just a perfect horror film. But then something like The Fog. I talked about The Fog ages, in an earlier episode, but that's like that's a ghost story. But it's like it literally opens with a man sitting around a campfire telling a ghost story to children. Like, it's not a horror film. It's like a fun, scary time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a spooky film, but it's not a horror film in my opinion. Like, he just makes entertaining films. The Thing is scary. It's a body horror movie, and it's got some real amazing effects work in it. I think what I love the most about John Carpenter is that he does, for almost all of his movies, he composes the soundtracks, and they are always just pure 80s synthesizer brilliance a lot of the time, and I just adore it. I remember I saw it in The Mouth of Madness, which is one of his lesser films, a lot of people think, but it stars Sam Neill, so I adore it. I saw it for the first time at a film festival in Japan that is the same film festival I dragged everyone to see The Mist at, if you remember that.
Yeah.
But I went to see this on my own, and it opened, and the opening credits came up, and this song started playing, and I was like, is this a Metallica song I've never heard? Like, these shredding guitars, and it was amazing. And I looked it up after the film. That's just the song he wrote to be the theme of his film, and it sounds like a Metallica song. It's so good. He just makes me giddy, John Carpenter. I think his movies they're not trying to be high art. You could call them B movies, but I just think they're entertaining. I just think they're gloriously entertaining, and I completely adore them. And the man now, instead of making films, seems to spend all of his time playing video games, so he's after my own heart as well. So yeah,
Aw,
big
nice.
fan of John Carpenter. Lot of love for him.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I will watch something one day.
Well, I think I've just listed 4 directors that I love, and of those 4 directors, you've seen one film. Which isn't a criticism of you. It's just funny that.
Well, I'm basic and you're not.
No, not that. It's just for. I didn't think I was making choices that you wouldn't necessarily have, but yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. I hope our number 1 is the same,
It's.
but it
it's
won't be,
definitely-
will it?
It's definitely not.
And I thought we were gonna have the same, at least one that was the same, but now I don't think we've done that, which is really upsetting.
I'm sorry. Most
Yeah.
of the ones you've listed are on my. In fact, I think all of the ones you've listed are on my honourable mentions. Like they would be
Yeah.
in my top 10 probably.
Yeah.
Other than Coriander, because I haven't seen many of his films, but like Tarantino, Waititi,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Coen brothers would be in my top 10.
But I thought my number one was definitely our common love, but it's not.
And I love him. He'd be like number 6, because I know exactly who it is. I know who your number one is, and I
Oh,
do
why is it
love
not
him.
your no number? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
sorry.
I bought you a book about him.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Like a
I
book.
doesn't
Like
Alex?
we.
There were hundreds of film directors in the world, and I had to
I
pick
know.
5.
I know, me too. Like it's been. That's why I took animation off, because I was just like, Alex, you can barely make a decision with these guys. But yeah. So my number one, George knows, and probably whoever's listening probably can guess because I talk to him about him all the time. By my number one is a director called Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah. I love his work. I feel like the other people that I've talked about, he's pretty unique in what he portrays and
Definitely.
the places that he wants to go.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things, if we think about The Life Aquatic,
Let's think about The Life
is
Aquatic.
the way that he showed the ship. Yeah, I love that kind of cutting a house and seeing the rooms and imagining being in there, and it's just kind of like a dollhouse, like the kind of dollhouse thing, and those kind of beautiful shots are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
the symmetry in his work, the fact that you can have two people having a conversation in the front of the scene, but then there's something important happening at the back of the scene that you have to keep attention, like you have to pay attention to, or there is or is funny or something. Like there's always something happening that makes sense and has a meaning. The colors of it, the dialogue, the positioning of characters, it just creates a world that for me is incredible and beautiful and perfect.
Mm.
Do you know what
No,
I
I
mean?
think I know completely what you mean. I think it feels almost to me like, instead of, I don't know if he went to film school, but like if he went to film school, instead of going to learn how to make films, it's like he went to learn what he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I
nothing,
guess.
it's like he breaks every rule about how you're meant to set up a
Mm.
scene and how you're meant to shoot actors. He does it all like straight on all the time with these
Yeah.
like 90-degree angles, and
Yeah.
like some directors like Quentin Tarantino, you could show somebody maybe 5 minutes of a film and you would know it was a Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson, you can show somebody just a single frame of one of his
Yeah.
films, and you can tell
Yeah.
it's a Wes Anderson film. Just about
Yeah.
you know, any frame sometimes in some of
Yeah.
his films, like the Grand Budapest Hotel. I can't imagine there's more than about a minute in that film that doesn't look like a Wes Anderson shot.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a genius, and it just creates like a cinematic experience that is absolutely incredible, and that's why I love him. What's your number one, G? I can't believe we don't have Wes. At least Wes together.
Sorry, I think you could probably guess what my number one's going to be. My number one was immediate. First thing I wrote down.
Oh, is it the guy from the horror films, Midsummer and
Ari Aster.
yeah.
No, but I mean, he just needs to, he's only made 2 films. It's too early to pop him on my list.
Oh, is
But
it David Lynch?
Yes, please. David Lynch is my favourite film and TV director. I adore David Lynch. You know that I like things that are slightly odd and different and surreal, and he is the master of that. Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Wild at Heart, Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me, Lost Highway, The Elephant Man, The Straight Story. I love everything I've ever seen of his. I have adored it completely. And he can do, like, a lot of his stuff is very odd and obtuse and abstract. But if you watch a film like The Elephant Man, have you ever seen The Elephant Man?
No.
The Elephant Man is, other than being in black and white, you wouldn't necessarily know that it's a David Lynch movie. It kind of shows that he has absolute mastery of cinema. Like, he can make a straightforward film that will tear you up. The Elephant Man is one of the saddest, brutally upsetting movies I've ever seen. It's really, it's a masterpiece. But he instead, a bit like Tarantino, instead of kind of doing all of those films, he follows his own muse, and it leads him to some truly strange places. One of those places is Twin Peaks, and I've talked before about how much I love Twin Peaks, but equally Blue Velvet. And I think what I love so much about his best work is that he goes to very ordinary locations and places, like Twin Peaks and a Pacific Northwest town, or in Blue Velvet, American suburbia, and he scratches at the surface and reveals the sort of darkness that's always there, hidden just out of view, and he manages to just sort of let you see a glimpse of it, and I just love it. I love him. I just adore him. He's got great hair.
Okay.
He has a YouTube channel called David Lynch Theatre, where throughout most of lockdown and still to this day, every single day he posts a video between about 1.5 minutes and 3 minutes long, where he just does a weather report for that day on what the weather is like in Los Angeles. And it'll always be something like, "Hello, friends. Today I'm thinking about Billy Joel's song, 'We Didn't Start the Fire,' and how we could all use a bit of that fire in our lives now. Looking outside, it's sunny, and it's about 20 degrees, and later on today it'll be sunny all along the way. Goodbye." And then he does a little salute. And he also, every single day, he does a video called Today's Number Is, where he holds a jar where the bottom of it is covered in like black paint, so you can only see the top half of the jar, and the bottom half has got 10 ping pong balls. And the script is exactly the same. He'll be like, "Here's the jar, open the jar, swirl the balls," and each ball's got a number on it from 1 to 10. It's like, "Pick out a ball," and then he'll look at it and go, "Today's number is 10." And then that's the video. And he does that every single day. And I don't know why he's doing it, but I watch it, not every day, but quite often. I'll watch his number of the day and his weather report.
Amazing.
And I just find him endlessly endearing and entertaining and wonderful, and I love him. He's got this incredible, oh my word, on his YouTube channel as well. He's got a series called What's David Working On Today, where he does a little like 5-minute, he'll do like a 5-minute video showing something that he's working on in his studio, because he is like as well as a filmmaker, he's just an artist. Like I went to one of his art galleries, or like the Home, the kind of one of the galleries in Manchester put on a David Lynch season where they showed off a load of his artwork, and it was amazing. So he obviously has a studio at home where he works on stuff, and he'll put videos up showing what he's working on. And a few of these videos were him making this jar and putting the numbers on the balls and being like, "I'll show you soon what this is for." But one of the videos is him trying to fix some of his pants. He's got these pants that he obviously does his art in, and they're torn on the knees. And he gets like kitchen paper, puts it under the trouser leg, and then glues it in place, and then tries to paint it the same colour as the trouser, so it's like patching the hole in his trouser. And he mixes this paint and then starts painting it, and it couldn't be further from the colour of his trousers. It's so odd. I love him. I love David Lynch. He's great.
Good to know.
Have you seen anything of his other than Twin Peaks?
June, without knowing, and that's it, really.
Yeah.
And Fire Walk With Me, but
that was a weird,
yeah,
incorrect setup.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was our top 5.
So top 5. Do you want to run down your 5?
Yeah, my number 5, Taika Waititi. My number 4, the Coen brothers. My number 3, Quentin Tarantino. My number 2, Hirokazu Koreeda. And my number 1, Wes Anderson.
Very nice. My top 5 was number 5, Denis Villeneuve. Number 4, Bong Joon-ho. Number 3, Ben Wheatley. Number 2, John Carpenter. And number 1, David Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honourable mentions?
Oh, should I just go like very quick?
Sure.
So, honorable mentions: Spike Lee, Guy Ritchie, Ari Aster. The two things I've seen. The one thing I've seen was amazing. No, but it's beautiful. Like, I wish I could watch the other one. Sofia Coppola, Greta Gerwig, Baz Luhrmann, Hayao Miyazaki, Guillermo del Toro, Stanley Kubrick, Luc Besson, Ava DuVernay, Steven Soderbergh, J.J. Abrams, Shane Meadows, and Park Chan-wook.
Nice.
Maybe more, but I went in
You've
overdrive.
That's a longer list than I've got, but I echo pretty much everyone on there that you said. And I would go with my honourable mentions are Wes Anderson. There you go. First on my list of honourable mentions. Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, who did The Witch and The Lighthouse, Taika Waititi, Bong Joon-ho, David Fincher, Tarantino, the Coen brothers, Ridley Scott, James Wan, who made the Conjuring movies and Saw and Insidious, great guy. Edgar Wright, Stanley Kubrick, Steven Spielberg, Guillermo del Toro, and Park Chan-wook. Love all of them.
Awesome.
Nice, awesome. Okay, homework time. What am I watching?
So, well, you probably have to watch a Hirokazu Koreeda film.
Okay.
Which one though?
I don't know. It's up to you. Shoplifters?
Yeah, you can watch Shoplifters. And if you have time, I would also watch The Truth, just to see how he works
In France.
in France.
Do you know if he's going to make more movies abroad, or is he going back to Japan, or what's his...
No, I think he might carry on making movies abroad. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Right, I'll
don't know,
watch.
I haven't asked him.
I'll watch The Shoplifters or The Truth or both.
Yeah.
Okay. What should you watch?
Nothing scary, please.
Sicario.
Sicario
by Denis Villeneuve. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again on Culture Bucket. It's been a good time. Look forward to seeing you again. Please join us next week where we'll be talking about books.
Top 5 books.
Top 5 books or top 5 novels. We're doing fictional novels first. Yeah, top 5 novels. Oh, what a fun time that'll be.
Yeah.
I love a good book. So, join us then. Thank you so much. Please get in touch if you've got anything for us. Oh, and our new feature from Culture Catch Up. If you had to recommend one thing for people to go to and have a check out, what would it be?
From this week?
Yes.
I definitely would say watch Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. That was homework, but okay.
But I definitely think they should watch it. And
Agreed.
Borat. I think Borat is definitely something that should be watched.
Yeah, agreed. Cool.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd say check out that Bring Me the Horizon EP/album, Post-Human Survival Horror. Big recommend to that. Okay, fantastic. So get in touch with us on social media. Let us know if you're listening and what you think, and give us some top 5s of your own for us to read out, and we might start doing that. And all the links for all of that are in our show notes, and as are links to all of the stuff we talk about in Culture Catch Up. So have a look, and thank you, and we'll see you next time. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye.